You know, so there's one thing that travel does to people such as me. I've always been a traveler and I've loved traveling, and actually Elci loves traveling too, but I'm talking here in my case. The one thing that travel does is it spoils you, and it becomes very hard to stay put in one place because you always remember the moments, the fantastic memories and moments that you've traveled and met interesting people and seen interesting things and places. It's never a dull moment. And we've now been in this house of ours. We started building it back in July of last year, and this is now April of 2023. April, May, June. So it's 9 months since we kind of put some roots down, but I am getting restless. And yesterday I was telling Elci, as we were having dinner at a nearby town restaurant, where this town only has 2 decent restaurants, one amazing pizza and another amazing tapioca, etc. And then there's this coffee shop that's owned by an amazing Brazilian who lived in the US, Oi Marcelo, and his wife Margarita, who's from El Salvador. They've got an amazing place for great breakfast. They're only open for brunch from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1. So choices here are very limited. So once you go to these places, that's all you got, unless you want to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to the nearest city, and then you've got more choices. So the point I'm trying to make is, I was asking Elci, what's the likelihood of us staying here permanently versus what's the likelihood of us turning this into a rental property versus just locking it up and living somewhere else, or traveling and coming back whenever we want to recharge our batteries and not have to deal with tenants. So we've got a couple of choices. So as you know from the previous couple of vlogs, we're building the atelier, and we've got this wall to paint over and add murals to. Also, we've got some projects that we have to get done on the Kombi, but we're not able to leave the house because we have to supervise the build of the atelier, etc. Because here, if you don't do that, then things get done in a way that you may not like. So it's better to just stick around and tell people exactly what it is that you have in mind. So for the Kombi, we removed the air conditioning because it was just a pain in the back end. Every 3 months something would go wrong, and it was related to the air conditioning, which was not inherent to the Kombi. It was added later on. So we just removed all the components that had to do with the air conditioning, and instead we bought a climatizador, climatizer, and it works with the solar 12-volt battery, and it works with water. So you fill up the water tank, you add some ice cubes, and it cools you very nicely at night. During the daytime we don't need anything because you pop the windows down, and the Kombis have this triangular window. That's I speak a little bit of German, and that's my German coming out, window. So the Kombi has a triangular window on both doors, left and right, that if you open it, it's perfectly angled to give you an amazing breeze as the Kombi is driving. So we don't need the AC at all or anything when we're driving. So the climatizador needs to be installed. There are a couple of other loose ends in the Kombi that we also would like to have done before we hit the road and travel again, which Elci and I are both itching to do. You know, Elci said, oh, I would love to have a small house where I don't need to clean so much, and I would love to live a life where I don't have to cook so much and clean up after cooking in the kitchen and this and that. And I told her, in that case, let's just keep renting and keep traveling. Then we don't have to do that. So I'm here to tell you, the time has come where she's starting to once again feel, oh, I don't want to cook and clean and all that. Traveling That's the answer. That's the solution. You know, we've only seen 1/3 of Brazil, and that too quickly. We haven't done what many people do who travel. They go to a place and they stay there for 2-3 weeks. They go to another place, stay there for 2-3 weeks. So we've met many that have been on the road for years, and they love that life. It's a nice, simple life. Many of them have a dog. I've seen one that even had a couple of plants. They would pop out the plants and keep them there. And when it was time to leave, they would put them on the roof rack and off they went. So many options. Time will tell. It is now the beginning of April 2023. Oh my. In July of this year, it will be 2 years since we came to Brazil. 2 years. Time flies. And the beautiful thing is our house is a small little 1-bedroom house. We can just lock it up and leave and only come back when we need to recharge the batteries, as I said earlier. We'll see. So that's catching bait to catch the fish. Qual é o nome disso?
Corrupto.
Ah, ok.
É isca pra...
Sim, sim, entendi. Obrigado. So, they don't buy the bait, they catch the bait. And then the bait helps them catch the bigger fish. Brazilians are such resourceful people. The word gambiarra is often thrown around, and that is, you don't buy things to solve a problem. You become the solution and create a solution for whatever problem you've got. That's Brazilians and their gambiarra. I love Brazilians. So since we started building our house, and since the time we've been living here, it's been 9 months. And some of you have asked, hey, how many snakes do you guys see here? And we've seen 5 snakes in these 9 months. Out of those 5 snakes, 2 have been, let me guess. Yeah, 2 have been green snakes, which are not venomous. And 3 have been venomous. My rationale is this. You got to do what the locals do. The locals don't go in these kind of places, so you need to stay out of these kind of places as well. When you're gardening, keep your hands out of bushes and things where stuff could be hiding, and keep your grass really trimmed short. What we've done is we've just gotten rid of our grass, and so there's really very little for snakes to hide. on our land, but you know, there's stuff all around us. So if you keep yourself away from those kind of places, you're good to go. They usually come out at night to hunt for frogs and things like that. So as far as snakes are concerned, don't be scared. Just be sensible, and don't walk around at night. You know, in your flip-flops or whatever. Make sure you have a flashlight so you can see where you're going and what's ahead of you. That's it. So you see where that horse is? This bit belongs to Elci's brother. And right around where that horse is, Elci's brother's servant found a pico de jaca. A pico de jaca is one of the most venomous big snakes in Brazil. But he was busy eating a frog. And the guy just left him alone. And the snake did its thing and just went away. So they're there. All of them are there. You just don't want to be on the receiving end of something that's gotten surprised by your dumb decision. Yay, we're almost home.